Hello everyone, and welcome to my solo RPG journal. Today we are continuing the story of Gabriel, the Alchemist, as he moved to Flyer Ridge in order to start a new life. He has hired on with an adventuring party with the quest. They've headed out into the forest in order to find a missing caravan that went missing a day before he arrived in the city. On the way, they got ambushed by bandits, followed their tracks back to their camp, and dealt with the remaining bandits and their leader. And so, after a bit of a fight, they are in an empty bandit camp with the corpses of 6 brigands and a tree that's caught fire. So the first thing is, how do we put out the tree? Let me just see. Bandits attack. Let's grab the... Just move the party statistics back down here. And copy. So Gabriel's on 23 and 2. And Orlan has used 24 spell points. Okay. Orlan has prestidigitation. Prestidigitation, which might help. Ray of Frost? Don't know. Ray of Enfeeblement, Identify, Scorching Ray. He's got lots of ways of fly. I think that you can do that to someone else. He has lots of ways of putting things on fire, but not so much ways to put them out. Gabriel has the spell Warp Wood readied. You cause wood to bend and warp, permanently destroying its straightness, form, and strength. The warped door springs open or becomes stuck, requiring a strength check to open at your option. A boat or ship springs a leak. Warped range weapons are useless. Warped melee weapons causes a -4 penalty on attack rolls. You may warp one small or smaller object, or its equivalent per caster level. A medium object counts as 2 small objects. A large object as 4. A huge object as 8. So you wouldn't be able to do a huge object. You can combine multiple consecutive warp wood spells to warp or unwarp an object that is too large for you to warp with a single spell. Okay. So Gabriel could, instead of putting the fire out, at least make sure that no other tree was going to catch fire, bending all of them away from the blaze. Though that would take time, and I don't think he'd be able to do it immediately. So we've already, I think it was round 4 that there's been 6 rounds, so 36 seconds of this fire, this tree going up in a blaze. Prestidigitation can slowly lift 1 pound of material, can create small objects, but they look crude and artificial. Ooh, we've got a little bit of a problem with this fire. So, the question is, we're going to have to go and ask the Oracle, which I haven't set up. So let's Let's set those up. Ask the oracle. Oracle. Ask question. What question are we asking? We are asking, how is the fire spreading very quickly? Fires do spread very quickly. So we're going to say it's likely. Yes, it is. Ask the oracle. The next question. Are there many trees close enough to catch? Yes, there are. Okay, so I'm going to roll a d6. 1. 1 is not many, so I'm going to roll a d6 again. I got a 1 again, so I'm going to say there's 2. That sounds reasonably fair. Okay, so the way we're going to tackle this is Gabriel is going to bend the two trees away from it and bend the one that is on fire away from the other two trees, while Orlan puts out any spot fires with Ray of Frost. That should work. So how do we work this out? We'll jump into initiative so that we've just got an order. So I'll just do a table really quickly. Orlan, four, plus 6, so that's 10. Gabriel, 11. And the trees, I'll just use the roll, or the fire, I should say, 15. Okay, so the way we'll resolve this is trees, Gabriel, Orlan, take an action in that order. We'll have a clock. So we've got 2 tracks to this clock. Fire. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll add a new track for every spot fire. We will roll I just roll a d20. I just roll a d4 for the number of spot fires created at any one time. So a d2. A d4, 1 is none, 2 is 1, 3 is 2, and 4 is 2. And we'll do that for every fire. We'll do that for every fire that has... Okay. So the fire progresses with a tick. And this one's had 6 rounds. A fire can last 12 rounds. An X is 2 ticks. // is 1 tick. The fire dies out after that, and any fire can spread once it's gone halfway. So, fire first. Let's change this to fire. So, rolling 1d4 to see if it spreads. 2, so it does spread once. Spot fire. Okay. And it advances 1 down the track. Gabriel is going to make it harder. How do we represent this with the thing? So Gabriel is going to spend the spell points to cast a level 2 spell. Yep, level 2 spell, which I think was 3. I have to... spell points. Casting spells, second level 3. Orlin is going to try and put out... Now, yes, so... he's going to warp the tree away from the other 2. I think we roll percentage dice from now on. So it's currently at 50% chance of creating a thing, and then we just roll a d2 instead of doing it the way I did. So we roll a d2 to say how many if we get a 50% chance. Okay, brilliant. That works. Orlin is going to attempt to put out this spot fire with Ray of Frost, which is a level 0 spell. So he can cast... hang on. Level 0 spells cost no spell points to cast. If a caster is capable of casting level 0 spells, he can cast a number of level 0 spells each day equal to 3 plus the number of spell points gained by that class on first level. So 6. So you can only ever cast 6. That's a bit weird. I think we'll add... we might look at changing that for later, but for the moment I'll go with it. So I'll just use insect conditions, go 1 of 6. Yeah, 1 of 6. And he has to roll to hit. And I believe we worked out it was a +8 to hit with a ranged touch attack. The DC, because it's just a tree, it's just a fire, is 10 plus whatever the small modifier is. So let's just work that out really quickly. AC. So at the moment it is a tiny spot fire. It's a diminutive spot fire. Let's add some... Just go, this will be huge, 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 large, medium, tiny, and we're skipping small. So its AC then is 14, which he gets without any issue. AC 14, AC 10. Okay. So we've got a spot fire going, which he hits, and because it's small, we'll say that a hit reduces its size by 2. reduces it on the track by 2. So because it's already huge, what they're going to do is they're going to wait out the main fire, but they're going to put out any spot fires. So this spot fire, because he hits it, is out. And it's the fires go again. So 5% on a percent. So when you're rolling for chance, you pick the chance and then roll less than it. So 50% is 5 is less than 50. So it happens. And then we roll a d2. That's cocked. 4. So we get 2 spot fires. Okay, so Gabriel is going to try to bend the tree some more. So that's taking another. Now I better work out how many spell points he's got, because we're running out. So we can do it twice more. So he's done it, so I'm going to say 40% chance now every turn. And cantrips. So we're going again at our sorcerer, Orlan, is going again at the first spot fire. Hits it without an issue, so he wipes it out. It's no longer an issue. And we come back to our fire. It continues progressing. 77, so there's no new spot fires this round. Gabriel is going to leave it at that. The fire is progressing. It's getting quite wild and out of hand. So Orlan is going to put out this spot fire. Okay, Orlan misses the tiny fire. And so it progresses 1. Or it will progress 1. It's still there to progress. So the big fire comes back around. I rolled 77 again, so it goes without an issue. It doesn't create any more spot fires. But the small spot fire does get a little bit larger and is threatening to go off. So Orlan is going to try to put it out again. And misses, rolling even worse than he did last time. So it's going to... So our big fire is progressing. $78. That's quite handy. 77, 77, 78. Better than the 5 I got the first round. And our fire progresses to here. Our spot fire progresses to there. Good news is, though, that the large fire is about to go out. So Orlan's going to try and put it out. It's a medium-sized fire now in this tree, so it's easier to hit. And he does hit it. Deals 1d3 points of cold damage. So you will say that each of those points of cold damage is a tick on the clock. So that's 2. So it takes the fire. It doesn't put it out entirely, but it's going out. Now the big fire has burnt the whole tree. It is ablaze and it's finally starting to go out, but it might try to spread. 35 it does. So 1, it's only going to create 1 more spot fire. And this spot fire gets a little bit larger. So Orlan, I didn't tick that, is going to try and put the larger of the 2 spot fires out. It does so successfully. I should roll. He does not put it out successfully. Okay, so he shrinks it a little bit. That's not that great. But now Gabriel hasn't done very much, and I'm going to say that because it is tiny, one of the effects of prestidigitation is that you can have very minor effects. So Gabriel... Yeah, I don't buy into this cantrips only 6 times when you can do any other spell. I think we'll actually say that you get them for free for the moment, and then after that they cost 1 spell point each. Gets 6, so 1 of 6. So it's going to go out. You'll put out the other one. I'll say the other one can't go. Yeah, no, he'll put out the other one with prestidigitation. So the big fire just starts to go out. It's no longer a threat. The smaller spot fire that is still going so the small spot fire. Okay, it progresses, and Orlan will try and put it out successfully with a 16 to hit. And he does deal 2 hit point damage, so he does manage to put it out. So I'll just write up a note really quickly. And Gabriel spent half a minute to put out any spot fires that the blazing tree created while waiting for it to die out. It has quite drained Gabriel's magic as he bent the tree away from the others to make it harder for the fire to spread. And Orlan, who put the spot fires out with rays of frost. Orlan and Gabriel spend half a minute to put out any spot fires that the blazing tree created while waiting for it to die out. It has quite drained Gabriel's magic as he bent the tree away from the others to make it harder for the fire to spread, and Orlan's, who put the spot fires out with rays of frost. So, at this point, we've got 6, 7 corpses spread out through the forest, so they'll gather them together and start going through the forest. Now, when they came across the bandit camp, the bandits were looking at maps and documents on a table. So they go to the table and start looking through those, and they need to be able to make some kind of sense of them. So looking at relevant skills, none of them have any particular knowledge that would be relevant in this case. Gather information, escape artist, decipher script. Are they written in code? Ask the oracle. Are the notes written in code? That's not really likely. Yes, they are. They're written in code. Okay, so Gabriel will try to decipher the code. Decipher script. The base DC is 20 for the simplest messages, 25 for standard text, 30 for higher or intricate, exotic, or very old writing. If the check succeeds, you understand the general content of the piece of writing, about 1 page long or the equivalent. If the check fails, make a DC 5 wisdom check to see if you avoid drawing a false conclusion about the text. Success means that you don't draw a false conclusion. Failure means that you do. Both the decipher script check and, if necessary, the wisdom check are made secretly so that you can't tell whether the conclusion you draw is true or false. Well, except for in this where I'm both the DM and the player. But that's okay. I can be honest to myself. Deciphering the equivalent of a single page takes 1 minute, 10 consecutive full round actions. Okay. What? What's this epic check? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's see if he can read it. I rolled a 1. So we find some documents in an odd code and can't make heads or tails of them. The question is, though, there would be maps. So what can we tell from the maps? We can't read the script, but I can make a knowledge nature check, maybe? Knowledge. Survival, maybe. Survival might make a little bit more sense. Where is survival? Ah, that's handy. So, knowledge. Answering a question within your field of study has a DC of 10 for really easy questions, 15 for basic questions, 20 or 30 for really tough questions. In many cases, you can use this skill to identify monsters and the special powers and vulnerabilities. In general, the DC of such check equals 10 plus the monster's hit dice. Survival. Yeah, so it'll be survival for reading maps. Get along. Gain a +2 bonus on all fortitude saves against severe weather conditions while moving up to 1/2 of your overland speed. So some travel stuff. Keeping from getting lost. Follow tracks. Okay, so we'll say DC 10 in that case because we're really just looking to see if they've got some... Actually, we'll say DC 20 because a map is a map. We'll see a map of the forest. Maybe they'll have notes on where the ambush was supposed to take place, that kind of thing. So the question is more, can we pull out a route, the route that we think that they're going to use to travel with the prisoners, with the kidnapped people, or with cargo? They'd be going from the caravan to the camp that they've set up with their cargo and then moving it from the camp away. So looking for the route through the maps, we'll say DC 20 and survival, okay. Gabriel makes that no worries with a 15 on the die. Yeah, once you get a few levels on you in third ed, you add a couple of ranks and all of a sudden 8 ranks gets you over 10. Your ability checks get a bit ridiculously large, or at least they seem to if you go to compare them to something like 5e. So Gabriel can see the route that they've been taking, that he now knows where the caravan has been moved to after it's been attacked. And he can see the route that they've been taking to get back to their base in Kolk, the old town. Or was it was Kolk the fortress? The Adventurers Guild, Kolk the old city. Yep. So he finds their headquarters in Kolk and the route that they're taking to get back there, which is not the main road. So if the party wants to, they can go after the goods. So the next question is how much of the stuff is here? Let me just check what a search skill's for. Find a certain item. Okay, so search it is. So we need to do two things. We need to find all the supplies that are stored in the camp, and we need to see if we can find an inventory and see if we can, and we'll do a spot check, a survival check to see if we can see signs of cargo that has been moved through. First of all, going through, looking for the inventory, and I guess Gabriel's making this check. So he gets that with a 15. Lucky 12 on the die. So Gabriel finds the cargo manifest, and would then be able to identify what do another search check to identify accurately what's on the manifest to what's around. And he sort of, I think that the cargo that is there in the crates has been ransacked by the bandits, and it's in quite a lot of disarray. We will, however, go searching through the bandits for gold, and I don't really care who does that because Gabriel gets a 20 if we use Gabriel's stats, and I'm not going to go through the books for the stats for the others on this one. It'll just be whatever their raw. They're unlikely to have ranks in it, so the NPCs that I were using were pretty much built for combat, so they're probably not going to have anything really good in the way of bonuses for this kind of work. So we're going to say that Gabriel or the group managed to find a lot of the gold. All the gold. They find a few. So the traveling merchants would have kept money on them hidden if it was. So maybe the bandits didn't find all of it, but everything that the bandits found, they found. And we'll work out, when we do rewards at the end, we'll work out, remember to work out how much money, how much gold they actually get to keep. So no one is going to suggest just taking all of the gold. They were hired by the merchants that were expecting the receipt of goods. So they're not going to take anything because it'll be bad for the reputation if they don't hand over what they actually find, but they are expecting to get a sizable sum. What they do have is the manifest, so they should have... do they have a ledger? So Gabriel also finds a ledger. So they would be able to hand back all of the gold on the ledger and keep any extra, which they would have because the passengers of the caravan would also have had their own purses, which would have been removed from them when they were kidnapped, as well as any guards or anyone. There might also be some extra little bits, weapons and things. Let's actually see if Gabriel finds a weapon that would suit him. He does not, I think. Search. Ransack a you know, he does. It's only 10, that's fine. Gabriel finds a scimitar. So that's cool. Gabriel's got a weapon. And does Gabriel find some working armor? 10, exactly. Brilliant, he does. Finds some working armor. Now this won't be that good for him if he wants to cast arcane spells, but he's also a druid. Multi-classing, taking multiple classes. Divine spellcasters don't get the armor check penalty for spellcasting. So, Gabriel's got a bunch of stuff. The others aren't really too interested. We'll work out how much gold and stuff they get when we do rewards. We'll just do it. We'll do that later because there'll be tables and stuff. I'll be able to find, but can't match goods back to it. Now, the other thing he was going to do is look for signs of cargo being moved through. So where they've had crates that have left indentations in the ground, that they've obviously moved further on. That's a survival check. Decipher script for survival. Track. Very soft ground. So we're in the forest. We're looking at firm. We'll say that crates and stuff are large. We'll leave them as medium. Okay, so he can't tell. He doesn't think that there's any evidence that he can see that that any stuff has been moved through. Now the question is, has it been moved through? And I'm just going to roll D%. No, it actually hasn't. Gabriel can't find any evidence that any goods have been moved on from the camp. Oracle says that it has not. So that means that when someone does do an inventory, they're actually going to find everything, which is good for the merchants, I guess. So, moving on, we are going to head back to where the caravan has been stored. So, just rolling a survival check, which I was going to say was DC 10. I was actually going to say it was DC 8 because we had a map that we were able to read. So give it a -2 to the DC. But I rolled a 10 on the die. And Gabriel's actually quite good with survival checks. So that's not an issue. We follow the tracks back. We follow the map back to where the caravans are. So we've got a few questions. We'll use the Oracle. Ask the Oracle question. Are there any more bandits at the caravan? And I think that it's likely. Yes, there are. So that's unfortunate. How many are there? So I roll a 1 on a d6. They wouldn't leave one person by themselves. So we're gonna say there's 3. 3 bandits, and 1 is separated. 1 of which is separated. Go off taking a leak. They are basically going through everything that's left there and guarding it. How much of a mess have they made? Have they ruined the carts? I don't think it's likely they've ruined them. They've ruined them. Are any... Oracle asks question. Are any of the guard alive? Unlikely. 50-50. No, they killed everyone. Have they moved all of the... Yep, they have moved all of the hostages. So anyone that was alive is no longer there anymore. Have they moved? So have they moved everything of value? No, they haven't moved everything of obvious value. They've ruined the carts, so they've probably been looking for things that... Cool. So we've got some things that we know about for our next session when we face off with the remaining bandits who have taken the caravan. So we're going to leave it there. I'm going to go off and create a board so that we can actually track the combat with Tailspire and try out that system. And we'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.